The trail of the 3rd Army and the 19th Tactical Air Command of the 8th Air Force is marked by more than 40,000 white crosses, 40,000 dead Americans.
We were young and soldiers called to dedicate our lives in the name of God and country. Do what's just, boys. Go do what's right. A hot band of brothers waiting on our chance to add one more page unto the victory dance. Here am I, Lord, send me, send me. Victory lies in the spirit of the lives of the men who died for me.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here am I. Send me."
This is Michael Broderick, Marine Corps veteran, actor, and Gallant Few board member. You are listening to the New American Veteran. Now here's Carl Monger.
All right, so Rob, welcome to the New American Veteran. Appreciate you being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's as a fellow Marine, I'm honored to be on here.
No, I'm not a Marine. I got to be upfront and say.
Yeah.
I'm an Army guy.
Army, it's okay. I can kind of tell by your decorations there.
Although I am wearing my Raider Project shirt today, so I helped start the organization. So near and dear to my heart. So every once in a while I wear some Raider stuff. But yeah, I deeply respect and admire anybody who served in the Marine Corps. And I've got, matter of fact, around the corner from me, he's working hard right now, so he's not going to be on camera with me, but a young Marine Corps veteran that went to Afghanistan named Zach Ceballos. And he's our case manager that just joined us a couple of months ago.
Well, it's a wonderful organization. I've done some reading up on it. And one of the things that I tell all the young service folks that come in is it's just one big fraternity. It's one of the best fraternity in the planet. It's our U.S. Armed Forces, and regardless of whether you're Coast Guard, even civilian police, or the military, best fraternity I ever joined. So it's defined of who I am now. I needed it as a young man. So
tell me, Rob, you're out in the Chicago area, is that right?
That's correct. So we're here in Chicago, Illinois. I'm actually talking to you from a place called Fort Knox Studios. Fort Knox Studios is a 160,000 square foot facility with over 150 music rehearsal recording rooms inside of it. And then inside of that, we have something called 2112, which is a creative tech incubator, which currently houses about 100 startups, all in the creative field. After a while, you just get that entrepreneurial spirit in you, and you want to start something new. And we've created a really cool organic hub where we are helping startups work with artists. Creatives are also working with startups, and it becomes this really neat organic cycle of watching business grow and develop. So kind of neat.
So what's your role with that? Are you one of the founders, or bring me up to speed on kind of how you got to what you're doing now?
So it's my background's kind of it does have a wider range. So we'll give you the Cliff Note version.
After start with the Marine Corps, though. We kind of skipped right over that because
absolutely. After the Marine Corps kind of came out and went back to school. The reason I ended up in the Marine Corps is any young folks listening out there, I had a very strict upbringing. Went to college, kind of blew my chances at college. I was so afraid to come home. I walked into the recruiter's office and said, "I need to go away now." So I joined the Marine Corps. Best darn decision I've ever made.
How old were you when you went in the Marine Corps?
I was just barely going to hit 19. So Didn't quite get through college. I wasn't disciplined enough to accept all that freedom, and I just needed a little bit more help. And I chose the USMC. That commercial with the stallion and the lightning bolt hitting it. I said, that's it. That's going to be me. And the rest was history. Quickly came out of the Marine Corps, ended up in aviation.
Tell me real quick, what did you do in the Marine Corps?
Actually, I went in open. I was that guy. I went in open. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do yet. Obviously, I still needed a little bit more guidance. I went open. I was infantry, 0311. Got to do some fun stuff. Kind of hit it, a little bit older than I look. Peacetime era, so got to play around with some fires on Lejeune and Pendleton and caught a small float. But it was the best darn thing that I ever did as a young man.
I'm a tweener guy too, by the way. I was in during Desert Storm, but the unit that I was in only sent a very small portion, so we watched it all on CNN. So yeah, I'm a peacetime in-betweener guy.
Right. Yeah. It's you get a few close calls, and for those listening also that have actually served and experienced that, it's it definitely defines you. It makes you appreciate life really quickly, because you're out there. We're out there protecting our country, and you're facing some evil forces, and it's what it is. So it's great. But literally outside of the Marine Corps, went back to school, got an aviation degree. And that's kind of what started defining who I became quickly. I'm a double major, ended up getting a business degree, and landed quickly with some big Fortune 500 companies.
Before you jump into that, one of the things that I'd like you to hit on real quick, because a lot of times you think an 0311 Marine and then a double degree, one being business. A lot of times you think, well, that doesn't really go together, right? Because you're a meat eater, knuckle dragger, MOS, but then take from that into business. Can you talk about what applied, what helped you, maybe experiences in the Marine Corps that helped you when you went into that education?
That's a great question. I actually had a recruiter ask me that once. 0311, you're a grunt, you're crawling out there in the mud, you're throwing grenades, we're shooting stuff up. I should be a SWAT guy or a police officer or something in that era. I don't know. I've always been an entrepreneur. As a young kid, my mom used to work at a company called Wrigley, and I started selling gum and making money at an early age. All the free gum she'd bring home, I was like, I can make money with this. So I always had that business.
Well, I helped pay some of your bills too, because I've always been a Wrigley's gum fan.
There you go. So having that growing up, we had access to pretty much every candy in the planet that was made by Wrigley, and I had such an abundance on it. I was like, I can make a quick buck here. So I always had that going for me. And then coming out, started going to college, and that led into, do I really want to turn wrenches all, every day fixing airplanes, which is nothing wrong with that. I was always drawn towards the business side of the business, of the world. And that's where I went back to school again and got my business degree, and kind of the rest was history. I ended up in entertainment, was a pure accident. Fort Knox Studios is an entertainment facility. We're in the music film spectrum. I've been blessed to have worked on several TV shows, one of them being Mancow. He's the equivalent to Howard Stern. So Mancow could be a nutball. You can find him on podcasts nationally.
I have heard his show a number of times.
There you go. So I was one of those nutty producers that provided the content that you heard on this show several times. But
so for somebody that's not in the business, tell them what is a producer?
There's various levels of producers. Depending if you're a line producer, content producer, you're the one that's either making sure everything that's been written or scripted for that program that morning, we're making sure that happens on time, in a timely manner. You have to break for commercials, whatnot, or you're actually producing segments. You're talent booking, you're writing some of the crazy things you hear on live radio. In this particular case, it was a live radio / TV show. Then again, if you take it in the film side or a music video, the producer is the one that's kind of putting that together so we could get the visuals that we see on television or now the internet. Everything's digital. it was a crazy turn of events of how I ended up in the entertainment business. Been in it for about 15 years now, and I definitely love it. Working with one of the largest music studios on the planet. We're getting ready to open Nashville. So Fort Knox Studios in Nashville is coming up soon, and we're slated to open about 10 more cities after that. So
Nice.
really excited.
About being a producer, it's almost like being a squad leader, or if you're a training NCO or you're in charge of doing training for a unit, that means you're coordinating the instructors, you're laying on the training aids, you're working the schedule, you're making sure chow gets there on time. That's all the stuff that a producer does. There's a lot of things from the military that can translate right into that. But I think when people think producer, they think maybe it's at a different level, that they have to have a different skill set to do that. But the reality is, if you can manage a schedule, talk to people, make things happen, that's the skill set that falls right in line with that.
Yeah, very well put. That's a great analogy. We're the thumb in that hand. Everything's a team. One of the biggest takeaways that I've ever brought out, being a wrestler in high school and in college, you're always an individual. When you play football or soccer, then it's that team concept. Being in the military, you have to rely on your left guy and the guy on the right, the guy behind you, the guy in front of you. It's a team. And I think that in the business world, that's also aided me. One of the things that I teach, when I get asked to talk on panels or any sort of when schools invite us out to talk to their young students, is you can't do it alone. You have to rely on others to kind of help you get there. You can't do it all by yourself. It's if you do what you do well and you bring in others that do what they do well, then the whole thing is it kind of goes from there. It explodes. I'm a big believer in the team side, so that's a great analogy. The takeaways of what comes out of the service, outside of the discipline, and still not being able to break myself out of the habit of waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I could go to bed at 3 and
keep working on it. You'll get past it.
And yeah, it's like that body clock is like, why am I awake? Why am I awake right now? So yeah, it's that, talking about some of the things that you're doing with your run program, and congrats on all the success you've had with that. And I think it's a great tool to provide our veterans, some of the guidance that they need. But on the 2112 side, that's something that we have a very big community spirit, and 2112 once again is the incubator portion of Fort Knox. So we're very community driven. We work with every college in town. We're starting to talk with certain veteran groups on how we can collaborate and work together. One of the things that you and I never had is when you leave the military, what's next? I think it took me about 2 years of getting reacclimated to civilian world. What am I going to do for a living? It sounds like the service has better programs in place to acclimate those when they come out. I think some of us had to figure it out on our own. So
yeah, I don't think they do. The programs that are out there right now are still not very effective.
Not effective. And this is why I feel what you're doing is important, and why we have to give back, and we have to have these programs in place to find placement when our troops come home, help them not go through divorce, something that I went through. Because psychologically, they do build different individuals when we go in, and we come out thinking different.
Right.
And that being said, it's yes, we work with students, we work with entrepreneurs in here, but one of the things that we've been talking to, initiatives that we have is how do we get our military involved. And so when this opportunity came around, it's like, absolutely, we'd love to sit and have a communication and get more collaboration going with your organization, because it fits with what we want to do here.
Well, hey, so tell me about what 2112 and the incubator and Fort Knox Studios. Kind of give us one over the world or an expanded elevator pitch on what it is that you do.
So here at 2112, I'm one of the directors. I also founded the cinema division here in Chicago. Chicago is becoming quite the big movie hub. So Fort Knox, again, 160,000 square foot facility, over 150 music rehearsal rooms. Then it has the incubator. That's where the magic starts to happen. So you got all these artists that are making music. and they're going on the road and they're getting booked at concerts and they're touring the country. Some of them are still trying to figure it out. So the incubator, it's just what it is. We're incubating business and startups in the creative arena. So we have video production companies, we have photographers, we have PR, entertainment lawyers, a plethora of industry that's all in the entertainment world in-house. And what starts to happen quickly is you're now an artist and, you've always wanted to go on the road, or you wanted to record a song, you just don't understand licensing or copywriting, or I want to make an album, I don't know what kind of graphics I should do, but it's all in-house. So you could walk down the hallway and say, I need to talk to an entertainment lawyer. Well, we have 3 for you to choose from. I'm kind of thinking of doing something different for my brand, and you want to redesign my logo. Well, we have that in-house. So now you start to develop this really neat organic ecosystem where the artists can talk to these startup businesses, and then they start to collaborate and work together. And we're launching some pretty neat things out of here. We've had anyone from Jennifer Hudson come through, Kings of Leon, Mumford and Sons, on the big end. On the emerging artist end, we have Louis the Child, somebody that broke out of here. It's an EDM kind of group. They're kids, 19 and 20, but those kids are playing all over the world now. And you sit back and say, wow, that happened.
That's awesome, because they don't have the resources to be able to do it.
Exactly.
Right? They don't have the money unless they have a rich uncle that's willing to fund them. They don't have the ability to have access to that. But when you get into an incubator situation, not only do you have that, but like you just said, you have access to people that are already in that industry that, because they're affiliated with the incubator, they have an interest in helping somebody get started in it. That's all cool.
Yeah, and there you go. That's exactly what's happening here. It's very organic. Nothing's forced. The energy that you get when you walk through here, it revives you. It's such a natural high, the adrenaline that goes through you when you start to see what is actually taking place in here. The local colleges that are working with us. We've had DePaul University recently just took office space in our incubator. We have their Coleman Entrepreneur Center in-house. And quickly the music division and the film division followed as well. And then we have other colleges that are also, coming in. So it's really neat to be a part of it. Another takeaway from the military is you got to walk the talk. You say it, you got to do it. So we have that going for us here. We're all very passionate about what we want to do and accomplish within the business development side of things, and helping these artists get to that next level. Just so like
if you have a young soldier, Marine veteran that is out and tell me in a minute what part of Chicago, the Chicago area that you're in, but if they're interested in getting started in cinematography or music, what would be step one? What do they need to have ready when they come to you? How do they find you? Do they have to schedule? Is there a fee? Can you run through that stuff?
Yeah. So, again, we're located on the north side of Chicago. We're about we're uniquely centered in between O'Hare Airport here in Chicago and downtown. So right off of 90-94. When somebody wants to get involved in our community, especially any young military guys getting out and you're dropping beats or you're a cinematographer. One of the best things we always say is get involved in the incubator side. We have a series of events that's constantly taking place in here. You can check that out on our 2112.com website and calendar. And I always like to say, if there's something that you're interested in, give us a call. You could easily find, and I'll share these links with you as well. You can give us a call or send me an email, and just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're looking to do, and we really welcome everyone to come through and spend a day with us, take a tour, participate in some of our events, and then we start to develop a process. Is this a good fit for you? Do you want to become part of the community? There's 4 levels of membership on the incubator side, but it's pretty aggressive. We do have certain programs in place where we just kind of figure it out as we go, because it makes sense. We need to make sure that you're comfortable and wanting to enter. Being an entrepreneur is not easy.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we got 2 of us right here. You got to take that leap of faith, right? So we try and make it as easy and good feel as possible. And we want you to feel comfortable. Typically, by the time you take the second turn in this massive facility, you want in. Everybody's like, okay, how do I get in here? And it's like, well, slow down. Let's figure this out first. But yeah, it's that simple. Give us a call or give me a call and send an email. And it really is that simple. It's something we're excited about. And if anybody's out in Nashville listening, we're getting ready to open up Nashville, and you'll have the same ease of entering our facility down there and hopefully getting involved in the community. But anybody that wants to enter the entertainment world, you just got to be part of it, be in it, find a way to work with it, volunteer at a music fest, volunteer at a music festival, film festival, anything. And anything of that nature, just get involved in it. And
Rob, that's great advice, because one of the things that when I have conversations with veterans and they say, I'd really like to do X, Y, or Z, but I don't have the money to do it. I'll give you an example. I've had a number of veterans will say, I love service dogs. I love my service dog. I have a talent for training dogs. I feel like I have an affinity with animals. And if only I had the resources, then I would start a nonprofit that trained and provided service dogs to veterans. But I don't have the resources, so I can't ever do it. And what I tell them is, well, have you gone to your local humane society? Have you volunteered? Go in there, give them one day a week or a couple of days a month where you go in and you work with the animals that they have that they're trying to get adopted out. Because if you have a well-behaved animal, odds of, I think, getting adopted are greater. But now you're demonstrating, you're volunteering, you're working in that industry. If they like you, you might end up with a job there. And then now you're starting to work your way into the field that you want to be in. But too many people, they don't develop an intentional way to start getting a foothold and move into that field. They're just like, well, I don't have the money to do it, so I can't do it. So I like what you said about, if you're really interested in this industry, go out, find the music festivals, find the events that are going on, volunteer, do things, hang out, kind of get a feel for what's going on. And guess what? You're probably going to have to work a day job so that you have some income while you squeeze this in at some other time. Because if that's really your passion, you want to work your way into it, you got a lot of hard work and hours that you got to put in to get there. But boy, once you cross that line and it starts working for you, there is nothing more fulfilling than to be able to work in your passion.
Well, 100%. It's you got to put the grind in. That's never changed, even in today's world. And not to be offensive to the youth, because very smart group of youthful people that are coming behind us here, very tech savvy. Everything's tech now. You still have to put that grind in. You just can't walk in from one thing to another industry and expect, I'm going to be the next best producer or the next Chance the Rapper or the next hotshot business owner. Yeah, that still happens. That's still that small percentage that people get lucky, and for whatever reason, they make it big instantly. Business successful right out of the bat, but for the most part, you have to put the grind in, and that's something that we like to teach, and that we strongly advise is just get involved. But yeah, well said. It's we believe in that, and then we can also, when people start to do that, your peers start to see where you need help in. So you're developing yourself, because if you don't understand something, you're learning. But at the same time, like if you have a good mentor in there or someone that you associate with, they're going to be able to give guidance. It's like, you need help here, or maybe that's not the way you should do that, or your writing skills aren't what they should be, or anything. It'd be anything depending on where you're at, but it helps others help you. And that's the one thing that I like to tell, anything from a high school level person to, some former veterans that I have coming out. I got a couple nephews that are getting ready to come out, and I want to be a record producer. It's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So, brutally honest. But then I give guidance. This is what you need to do. This is the classes you probably should start taking. Get a communication degree. And then we just figure it out. We figure it out, and then it depends on how disciplined and dedicated someone is. It will come. And it's always. You just
talked about one of the core foundations of what Gallant Few does, because when we have a young man or woman that's leaving active duty and they want to move to Chicago or Kansas City or Los Angeles or wherever and be in the entertainment industry or be an attorney or teach or whatever they want to do, maybe start their own business, the first thing they need to do is hopefully we can help them connect. But if for some reason they're not able to connect with us or whatever, my advice to them is go and find somebody that's exactly like you, that has your background, same branch of the service, similar experiences, and they're in the field that you want to be in. And go sit down with them, because 100% of the time they're going to give you at least 15 minutes, right? So you sit down and you say, okay, so I'm an 0311, just left active duty a month ago. You're an 0311, left active duty 10 years ago. How do I go from where I am to where you are? Can you walk me through that timeline? What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What should I avoid? When you do that, you're going to get so much information dumped on you, because all of us as veterans have this after action review wealth of transition knowledge that nobody asks us to share with a veteran that's like us, that's getting ready to do the same thing. And when you sit down with them and you say, I bet that as an infantry man, you have not probably reported some of the injuries that you have, because your back's probably messed up, your knees, whatever, but you never reported it while you were on active duty because you didn't want to look weak, or you didn't want to leave the team, or for whatever reason. Now you have a bunch of conditions that are not documented, and the VA is going to give you a very hard time trying to get, if you need to get help for that or ultimately compensation for it, it's going to be a hard row. But if you're able right up front to document it, reach back in, get statements from people that you served with, there's a way you can move quicker through that process, but they don't know that. And so I've had guys that have gone for 15, 20 years and never asked the VA to help them out with an injury that they had, because they just felt like they couldn't do it, but there's ways to make that happen. So it's lessons learned like that can help that young veteran move quicker through the transition process towards success than maybe we did.
Yeah. Wow. I do know about my back.
Yeah. Hey,
yeah.
if you carried a rucksack, man,
yeah,
you got back problems.
Yeah. I think in the end, that no matter what, whether it's an argument or that point it is that transition. I believe it's always that transitional period of once you're coming out, what's next. There's a few of those that still go in. The majority of people that go in now, I see them. They continue in education, and they have a great roadmap, and most of them are figuring out what they want to do by the time they come out. But you still get that handful that we just got to figure that out. And I do welcome. I really welcome any veteran. Or even active. Somebody's active in their home. We got the Great Lakes Naval Base is not too far from here. You guys get a furlough and you want to come in for a tour, reach out. Give me a call. Love to show you around.
Whenever I get out to that area, I'm definitely going to stop in. I want to see it.
Yeah, please do. But yeah, it's that advice. It's whether it's a transition time, or hey, what's next, or how did you get here? And that's something that we really love to share with pretty much anyone that comes in. Our programs that we have here are incredible. So that, it's, and get involved. That it comes down to that.
I had a female Air Force veteran who served in security police. And she told me that she didn't feel like she was a real veteran because she never went to a combat zone, right? She was an in-betweener like us. She had never experienced combat. And I said, well, it's not your fault you didn't, right? You were either lucky or unlucky that you didn't get sent there. But the fact that you volunteered, you took the oath, you offered up your life, if in the event that that sacrifice was needed. So absolutely, you are a veteran. So come into the network. I mean, there are veterans out there that they intentionally hold themselves back from coming into the network, and it's to their detriment, because like you said early on in the interview, everyone is changed by their service. And those things can make you much more effective in the civilian world, but a lot of times you don't understand how that can apply, and you need a little help kind of tweaking that.
No, that's I always say, if you got that DD 214 and you meet all the requirements, you're a veteran.
Absolutely. That's right. So what do you know about Run Ranger Run? You mentioned that earlier.
It's actually, I'm gonna be real candid with you. I didn't know much about it until it was presented to me a couple weeks ago. I think that's awesome. You develop groups all over the country. you put your teams together and get out there and raise some funds, and you make your commitment, whether you're walking, swimming, biking. And I think what I love about that is because some of these folks that are involved, they are veterans, or it could be civilian with your group, but they might be in a wheelchair, or so it's, I like what you've done with that. It's
you don't have to be in the same location to do it.
Exactly.
Right? So your team of 10 can be
anywhere.
One in Chicago, one in Dallas, one in New York, one in Germany.
And I think that's what makes it fun. It's like, okay, everybody takes that commitment. Earlier I mentioned that we have a very big team concept here, and we inclusion is a big thing. We have about 100 startups, so we're always coming up with things like that. Everyone after the new year, it's like, okay, we're going to go on a diet now. The goal right now is the 10,000 step challenge per day. And everybody signs up, and then who could do 15,000. So you raise the bar a little. But that kind of thing, it's just inclusion. You're doing it for, it's same model, but you're doing it to raise funds to benefit, those that need it or that.
Well, I've always said the number one goal of Run Ranger Run is awareness, because when a veteran comes to me, one of the reasons why people say, "Where's your office?" And I say, "It's right here. It's in my pocket," because having an office doesn't allow us to do what we need to do. Having a network allows us to do what we need to do. So when that Marine or Army soldier, airman, when they reach out through our website or give me a call, I might as well take a map of the U.S. and throw a dart on there, because that's where they're going to go live. And now the burden is on us to find a veteran that's just like them, that's previously transitioned successfully in the community, that can come alongside them and help them through that transition walk. And Run Ranger Run allows us to continue to build that network greater and greater and greater, because, invariably, I bet within a month or two after this, I'm going to get some 0311 that's heading to Chicago that's interested in the entertainment industry. And Rob, I'm going to be sending them your way. That's just the way that it works. So the more the robust the network is, then the better. And the side benefit, or something that allows us to exist, is as that network grows, as people see what Gallant Few does as a result of the Run Ranger Run exposure, they understand veteran issues, they understand what we do about it, they like what we do about it, then they want to help us do more of it. And sometimes that's by personally volunteering, sometimes that's by donating funds, sometimes that's by telling other people. But all of that works together. And without Run Ranger Run, we would not exist. We'd be a hobby on the weekend where we would try and do a couple hours to help somebody. And we're so far beyond that now that I'm extremely grateful to Corey Smith for doing the very first run. And I'm really grateful for Laura Orico, who is helping me get connected with people to get this message and the word out to even more people.
I know it's you got a mini movement happening there, and it's needed. Our vets still need a lot of help when we get them home, and that transition. We've mentioned that several times. And so what you're doing, I think that's fantastic. And what I can do to help here is definitely, as this network grows for you, would like to be included and being a voice out here, and it's important. It was a long time ago. I don't think I say hoorah or semper fi that much anymore. But you get me around a bunch of devil dogs, or even anyone military, and you puff your chest up right away.
Back, doesn't it?
It comes right back. It doesn't. I even went out and found an old turtleneck military green. To wear today. It's cold here in Chicago, so if anybody's watching this right now, it's I think about 18 degrees out here right now. So, but yeah, it's definitely want to be here to try and assist and get that network going. I always say, one of the things you said is, just like Run Ranger Run, you're surrounding yourself with other colleagues, in the military, and in the business world, I always say surround yourself with influencers. Get rid of the negativity and focus on the good and good energetic people, and just stay on path. I'm constantly saying that if you have a network of influencers around you, great things are going to happen. Sometimes it happens a little quicker than others, but it's good things will always happen. It's just have a great positive network. Those that are willing to help, especially those that are willing to help with nothing in return. I also caution people on that. When someone wants something back, might not be the right fit. Those that are really willing to give it and truly help others, that means they're passionate about themselves and they've learned. And we, that's yes, we're a business here. We're a for-profit business model, but we do a lot of great good and many things that are community driven, and we're here to help at many levels. And we all preach the same thing around here. So
that's brilliant. And but not only that, and as you're giving that guidance to someone to get the influencers to build that network, that doesn't just happen. You don't say, okay, I need a network, come. You have to physically go out and you have to identify who those people are. You have to offer to buy them a cup of coffee. Say, I'd like 15 minutes of your time. May I buy you a cup of coffee? Because I'd like to bounce some ideas off of you. I'd like to get your guidance. I'd like to, whatever it is, understand that you have to do the hard work to do the research to find out who they are. And then you have to go dig them out and ask them. And like you said, be careful of people that sometimes want something in return. So now you're going in and you're asking someone to give you something, right? Because you want them to be a mentor for you or an influencer in your circle, whatever. You have to be prepared to say, what can I do for you? And even if I was for some reason lucky enough to talk to Tom Hanks, and at some point during the conversation, I hope that I would have the presence of mind to say, is there anything that I can do for you? Because people always are saying, give me, give me, give me. Mm-hmm. But people don't always say, what can I do for you? And when you go out with an attitude of what can I do for you, then they look at you as somebody that can be a partner, that can be a collaborator that they want to be around, not somebody that's always just wanting stuff from them, especially if they're either wealthy or successful. People are always trying to take.
Yeah. Are you reading my Cliff Notes? That's very well put. That's something that, especially with our young folks, our college graduates that come through here, some of them are very eager to get things started, but sometimes the gimme attitude could be a turnoff. So it's how to give guidance, and everyone's different, and you can't clone people. So you have to figure it out. But that advice is that give me attitude doesn't work. It is a turnoff. It's how do I get folks to trust me? The great thing about all of you veterans out there, anyone that listens to this thing, is you already have the confident level. You're 10 steps ahead of anyone else, including a college graduate that never joined the military. We do come out very confident, sometimes too confident, which could be considered cocky. But that's okay. We just need to figure that out and fine tune it, and always be willing to help others. The great thing about any veteran, most I don't think I've come across anyone that has had this mentality, is always willing to help someone. You give your last dollar if you have it, and that to me is a great foundation to be an entrepreneur or a business leader or a part of a great company. And we make good assets in any level of industry, not just necessarily the entertainment arts. It's any level. So yeah, right. That's how I feel about it.
Rob, what else do we need to talk about with Fort Knox Studios or 2112 or anything else?
Definitely, if anybody's interested in the entertainment industry, or you have that entrepreneur spirit where, I don't think I want to work for the big man and do corporate world, and you want to give it you want to come in and take a look at what we are, please feel free to reach out. Again, I'll provide an email and a website links. I'll send them over to you. We are opening in Nashville. We're really excited about that. Nashville, I believe, there's a fort in Kentucky, if I remember right. So for any military folks out there, once we get Nashville launched and ready to go, we can provide some assistance down in that area as well. And then we have 8 to 9 more unnamed cities. We kind of know where they're going, but there is some growth that's happening here within our community, and just having fun with what we do.
Well, and if there is anything happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please let me know what I can do to help you, because
Absolutely.
I have lived here now for almost 6 years, and I have a pretty robust network through the Chamber of Commerce and some Rotary clubs and some other things, and that's continuing to grow. And we didn't realize it when we bought the house. We thought we were kind of on the northwest side of the Metroplex, but they're projecting over the next 20 years that this is going to be the center of the Metroplex. So I just learned that over the last couple of months that there's a facility here called the Alliance Airport, and there's a whole industrial area that's kind of built up around it that Ross Perot founded, and his son Ross Jr. runs now. And that's where all the growth is going. And I mean, there is tremendous, tremendous opportunity. So if you guys are not looking at the Dallas-Fort Worth area, take a look at it, because the growth here is
Yeah, definitely look at it. We do have an eye on Texas. So I was actually I was born in El Paso, Texas. So I am a Texan, but I kind of mostly Chicago. I moved here when I was 6 years old. So there's still a little bit of Texas left in me. So.
Nice. I've walked over, I think, all of Fort Bliss and half of White Sands Missile Range.
I spent many summers in White Sands. I have a uncle who was a Uncle Colonel, retired Army, Ronald Fisher. But I spent many summers at the White Sands Missile Base, and that is just cool to see that.
That's an amazing place. Yeah.
Hot snow. But yeah, it is. It's been great. Really privileged being on your program, and also thank you for having me.
Well, Rob, you bet. Thanks for your service. Thank you. One of the things that I tell people when they say to me, "Thanks for your service," I usually say, I'd rather you say thanks for my freedom than thanks for your service, because when you say thanks for your service, sometimes you're kind of like, it makes me feel a little weird. Like, did I wash your car or something? But when somebody says to me, thanks for my freedom, I'm like, damn straight. Yeah. So thanks for my freedom.
Yeah. That's why we did it. That's why all of us go in. Many of us go in for many other reasons, but in the end, it's we're protecting this awesome country of ours, US of A, and everything that's in it, and all the privileges that we have, that I wish many civilians knew what that meant, what other countries don't have, and that's a whole different conversation.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Thanks for that. It's funny you say that when people do thank me, sometimes when they find out that I did serve, it does make you feel. I was like, don't thank me. Yeah. Thanks for my freedom. Yeah, I like that. I think if it's okay with you, I'll use it. So
do it. Yeah, please do. Well, Rob, thank you. Appreciate you being on the New American Veteran. I look forward to talking to you again.
All right. Absolutely. Pleasure to be on anytime, and hopefully we get to meet in person soon. So
I look forward to that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Run Ranger Run is here. The month of February, people all around the world will be participating. Did you know you don't have to run?
You can do it even on a treadmill.
You can climb. You can ride, even in February. Hey, you can even swim.
You can be as big as us.
You can stationary bike.
Or even walk your dogs. Anything you can do to get moving and cover distance. Young, old, big, small, walking, biking, running, climbing. What a great way to get some exercise, get involved, and have fun. And know that whatever way you run Ranger Run, your miles save lives. Go to runrangerrun.com to get started. The VA says, on average, 20 veterans a day take their own lives. 10 years ago, they said it was 18. A year ago, they said it was 22. Last October, they released a study that said it's 20. Since 9/11, that's 100,000 people. If you dig into those details, though, there's a disturbing fact, and that is 65% of those 20 veteran suicides a day are veterans over the age of 50. It takes decades for failed transition to catch up with a veteran, to run through jobs, to burn through money, to become an alcoholic, to ruin relationships, to go through a divorce, to become isolated. The end of that path is very dark, and for many of them, it ends in death. And that's not acceptable. We can head it off, and we can head it off early if we help them transition right. I just published a book, Common Sense Transition. This tells my own personal story of transition. It tells the story of some of the veterans that I work with, and it offers solutions for how we as a veteran community and how the greater civilian community at large can help veterans transition. A better transition means stronger communities. It means more veterans paying taxes. It means more kids growing up in both parent families. It means less alcoholism, fewer DUIs. I'm convinced that we can do better, and you can help. Please grab a copy of Common Sense Transition. It's available now on Amazon.com, and share it with a friend. That beautiful rendition of Taps is a public domain recording created and recorded by an employee of the United States government. It is open source and not under copyright protection. Kenny Thomas' song Send Me is used by permission of Kenny Thomas. Isaiah 6:8 was read by Tim Abel. Thank you, Michael Broderick, for the introduction. All work is original or used by permission. This has been a production of Gallant Fuse, the New American Veteran, a member of the Heroes Media Group. All rights reserved.